tapes a picture of himself on the mirror, an old like a headshot picture he has from like back before his before life that he puts on the mirror. So he goes, "Hey, I look good." I like because
It,
he can't tell how he looks anymore.
that is one of the things about a vampire, I think, would be being a drag. Like, how am I supposed to do my makeup if I don't have a mirror? I can't. That would
But
be a
you're just
hard thing.
already hot, so it doesn't matter.
This is
Um,
true. Welcome to Horror Movie Survival Guide, Disco Citizens, the podcast where gorehounds
and best friends Terry Gamble
and Julia Marchesi break down a different horror movie each week,
exploring a multitude of genres, subgenres,
and subgenres,
classic and cult,
international,
and underground flicks alike, determining which films are the goriest,
and offering up horror movie survival guide tips
to help you stay alive. Oh my gosh, welcome to another fine fabulous episode of Horror Movie Survival Guide. I'm Terry and I'm here with
Julia, and this week we're talking about 1987's My Best Friend's a Vampire. This title of this episode is This Blood's for You, and the tagline for this movie is Vampires and teenagers are a lot alike, they're just misunderstood. This was written by Tab Murphy and directed by Jimmy Huston, who directed one of my other favorite horror films, Final Exam.
there's the through line. That makes a lot of sense. Similar vibes. I get that. Very
And I mean,
cute.
for me, you say Robert Sean Leonard as a vampire, and I'm there 100%. That's all I need to say.
Hello, wonderful actor in his youth, just being adorable and just a cutie. Just such a cutie, of course. And then also just a murderer's row of character actors in this as well that are just all the like auxiliary people. I'm always obviously obsessed with that. Those are my people. That's my lane, and I just am like, oh my god. I mean, you got young Kathy Bates in this. Like, I mean,
for her one scene just coming in, you're like,
yep. Day player Kathy Bates, incredible. Paul Wilson as Grimsdyke, like another insane, like just anyway, love it. And Cheryl Pollack as the beautiful Darla, giving me little Molly Ringwald vibes in this movie, like giving like Andy Pretty in Pink vibes. I'm here for it.
Let's so that we open with the title card. The following is a true story, more or less. We're gonna open on a dream sequence of Robert Sean Leonard in the midst of a tuba, and he doesn't know how to play the tuba, but
he's in a band room, a band dream.
Yeah, we got the super hot 80s vixen Candy on one side and the nerdier band playing Darla on the other side, who we'd never thought about her before this way, but suddenly the dream makes her seem different.
Well, yeah, that can happen. I've definitely had that where I was like, oh, I didn't know I was into that. And then it's in my subconscious. I was like, oh, wow. Like, I remember as a young person, my weird, maybe not weird, my enjoyable dream was about Michael Bolton once. And I was like,
oh, interesting.
Exactly. See? I was like, well, didn't know that was in there. And then I met him later in life and I was like, checks out. That's a handsome man. And he's a sweetheart and got a nice way about him. And I was like, I could see why that was formative in my years. You singing to me, "How am I supposed to live without you?" Okay. But he in the dream, Darla passes him a note and tells him to follow him, and then he follows her to the girls' locker room, ends up in the shower with her, but all of a sudden she turns into another person because it's a dream. You know that thing where like that person isn't actually that person. You know, kind of vibe. You're like, then he sees this mystery woman. But then, of course, it turns back into Darla or some other person, and he gets humiliated. And ultimately, he wakes up because he's about to get castrated by a nun because it's a dream. So it's all just wild, wild stuff.
Crazy. So let's start with there. Let's meet his mom, his dad, and his best friend Ralph. So it's interesting because this movie is titled "My Best Friend is a Vampire." So you think that this movie would be about Ralph, but it's not. It's about Jeremy. So you're like, okay. All right. The title's there, though. I got no problems.
Jeremy's the best friend, and he's the one, but also there is the play on that because there is some tomfoolery where the vampire slayers / hunters think that it's the other guy. So there is some play on like which one is actually the vampire kind of vibe throughout the movie that we get to play with, I think, with the title, which I also thought was kind of delightful as well. But the mom tells them, as Ralph shows up to head out, drive carefully, boys. And they say we always do before they're about to drive absolutely recklessly down the highway.
But we should point out, because this will be important later, that mom's deal is she likes to listen to the police band radio and that she always knows where the speed traps are so that they won't hit those. So those are going to come in. It's going to come into handy later that mommy has that weird thing.
We love a mom with a weird habit.
He's got the little red rabbit convertible zooming around, being so cute, telling Jeremy he's just got to have sex without guilt because it's the greatest. And
Not just anything, Julia, you glazed over this car. This is the car that I wanted, that I feel like a lot
oh
of us wanted. It's the Volkswagen Cabriolet. It's the one that's also
yeah,
in Can't Buy Me Love.
yep,
It's not red in Can't Buy Me Love, though. It is like the more of the silver one that I actually really wanted as well, too. It was like high school
yeah,
car,
because
like
it's
California, top
the cute cut.
down,
Yeah, yeah, it
right?
is. Yes.
Yeah. Anywho.
So
Mhm.
we get to real class where Jeremy can't help but also stare at Darla a little bit, which she does actually send a note over to him, and he thinks it's really exciting, and then he opens it and it says, "Quit staring, creep." Oh, okay.
Right, and he had was all excited, and he kept staring because he had this theory, because it was the 4th night in a row that he had the dream, and he was telling Ralph before class, he's like, "Man, I got a theory about it. Like, I've had this dream, I keep having it." And he's like, he ends up talking with Ralph about true love versus guilt, and, like, about sex and romance, and how he wants, to have love without guilt somehow, and his friend's like, "Dude, you gotta get over yourself. Like, you get that Ralph is not the romantic. We got Jeremy is a absolute romantic. He seems hopelessly devoted, like the last girl that he hooked up with. So we get he's not a virgin, so something bad could still happen to him, because straight up in the beginning of the movie, they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, he's hooked up with a girl before," and he ended up trying to send her flowers and like wanting to invite her to meet his parents, and the girl was like, "Dude, that was just like it was a hookup. Like it wasn't like
Yeah.
that." So we got the hopeless
But
romantic versus his friend who's like, "Just go do it, dude."
sure. And, we're about to embark on a delightful string of teenage boy kind of vampire stuff. And this is one where they make it, because like once bitten, they make it like him being a virgin is the number one thing about him. Right. And here it's like, oh no,
Mhm.
that's not even part of the equation. It's just,
No.
okay, whoever, doesn't matter.
They knocked it out right away. And so yeah, he feels bad after she sends that note, and he'd have this epiphany thinking like, "Oh, maybe she's the one," and all this kind of stuff. He's already doing that in his mind. But he
Yeah.
goes to work instead after school, where he goes and delivers groceries, mostly to very old ladies.
But there's a new one on the route today, and it's at the old Gardner mansion, which everyone knows has been abandoned for quite some time. But when the door opens, there is nobody there. So he hears someone say, "Come in." So he comes in, and then there's nobody there. And then he's got to kind of wander around a little bit. And he
But the
finds,
place is gorgeous inside,
yeah,
though. Can we talk about that? It's not like it's dilapidated and like kind of run down on the outside, like just like as an old manor down the way, like Scooby Gang would find, like it's like the broken fences and like, overrun, overgrown. But inside it's gorgeous. It's luscious. It's like old mahogany kind of wood and grand staircase and gorgeous old rugs and just like candelabras. It's beautiful inside. He also runs into this beautiful black cat whose name is Nora, and she's so cute. And he says hi to the little kitty, and the kitty immediately bites him.
yep. So then the woman arrives, and this is the woman of his dreams, and she kisses,
From his
licks,
dreams, not of
sucks.
his dreams, from
It's
his literal
true.
dream.
Kisses, licks, sucks his bleeding finger, and then invites him to come back at midnight. She is awake during the day. I would like to point out here there
Yeah,
is sun kind of coming in through the window,
yeah,
but apparently in this world, okay, this is not part of the vampire
super
lore in
fine.
this world.
Yeah, because we're gonna
Um,
get more vampires and sunshine throughout this movie, a
we
good
will.
amount of it. But he tells Ralph about her as soon as he, later, that he's like, "Oh my God, like it's an omen from God, if she's from your dream." He's like, "No, no, no, not like she's literally the woman who was in my dream. I've seen her before." And he's like, I can't do it. But he's in the lunchroom with all, at school, and the kids all hear him and they're like, "Do it, nerd."
Yeah, everybody's cheering him on. You got to get
Yeah.
in there. You got an opportunity.
Like,
And
hit
I
it with that
love
hot lady. Yeah.
that he shows up. He comes in a suit. He dresses in a full suit. I'm like, that is the cutest thing I've ever seen.
He
So
is all
so
dressed up, but I love his friend ribs him, and he's like, "You look like a vacuum salesman." It's like,
yep.
he kinda does. He looks like he's gonna go sell her a Bible. Like, he literally looks
Yeah.
like that kind of, like, door-to-door salesman, and I was like, "Oh my god, buddy," like
It's pretty dorky. He
yeah.
does not know that the house is under surveillance by two gentlemen, David Warner and Paul Wilson, as Professor Leopold McCarthy and Grimsdyke, his Renfield toady, and they are about to go in to kill the vampire. But now we have this unknown factor who has just walked in, and it's too late for him now. Sorry, sir, you're wrong time,
Yeah,
wrong place, wrong time.
yeah, they were gonna stop him, but they're like, "Nah, I guess we don't stop him." But also, they weren't so, sure that if he's a vampire or not yet. They're like, "Well, I don't know if he's a vampire or not. We can't tell." They're obviously not the best at their job. You can get kind of right away that they don't really know exactly what they're doing. They try to act like they do. Ralph sees these guys pull up and he starts freaking out, but he's like, what do I do? Like, I don't want to jump in and go grab my friend, but I also, so he's kind of got to look out for these guys as well too. Um, but the professor breaks in, and so Jeremy freaks out, of course, because he's, just been scrumping with this lady and hooking
She was
up,
in some
and
hot lingerie and all sorts of things.
I mean, it was very hot. He's like, "Oh my god, this is like a dream, literally a dream come true." But he runs and hightails it out of there and grabs a bed sheet and leaves his clothes. And but he is not
I,
left unscathed. He has some bite marks on his neck when he gets in the
I,
car.
I do like when the professor jumps in and stops him. He says, "Stop this obscenity," which is such a dorky Van, Van Helsing thing to
I
say.
vanquished this. I vanquished you.
Yeah.
Yes, kind of vibes.
But
Yes.
the Milton High School bumper sticker gives them away on their little red rabbit, which is a very noticeable car.
Yeah.
So we think that they killed Nora. We hear her scream from inside the house right before they blow up the whole building, but we do not know. Jeremy is noticing some odd things that night where all the dogs in the neighborhood are at his window. And
Yeah, and they're
when he goes,
howling and watching him, and there's also a man he notices watching him from the street when he looks out his window, but he shoos the dogs away and then looks back out the window, doesn't see the man again. So he's like, I don't know what's going on. But he wakes up looking way worse for wear. He wakes up pale, 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 and he's
so
not very
hot.
hungry.
I
Yeah,
don't
of course,
know.
Julia loves a pale vampire.
Yeah, I'm like, as
And
soon
he's
as he
not
starts
very
getting vampy, I'm like, yeah, give it to me.
And he reads the news. He sees the morning paper, and his dad reads the paper every day, and he sees that the mansion was burnt up, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, oh no, they're gonna think it was us, maybe, because maybe that's why that man was outside who followed us, because we were the only people there." And so he wasn't feeling well, and his mom had told him to stay home, and he was, because he looks all pale and he's not doing great. But he's like, you know what? He runs to school anyway because he wants to talk to Ralph and tells him that someone has been following him, and he's worried that they're going to go to prison. And then Ralph freaks out, thinking they're going to go to prison and stuff too. But in the meantime, Darla is also finally thinking about Jeremy, because he had, been looking at her, and she's asking, "Do you know about that Jeremy guy?" And her friend Gloria is not impressed with
No,
Jeremy at all.
I don't know how you could not be impressed with Robert Sean Leonard personally, but that's the thing. The professor and Grimstike are training, are getting everything ready. They are getting their state crossbows. They are making sure they have all their weapons. We let us know that 20% of the population will be vampires by 1990, and by 2000 it becomes vampire Armageddon. So he has got to stop it.
He's on a mission
on a
to
mission.
stop it. Yeah. So we get why he's so urgent about what he's doing. And so the boys are in driver's ed class, and they, for school. And so they get in the car. But of course they're about to get followed, and they they freak out. And they know where the speed traps are that day, of course, because mom has told them earlier that day as well too, where they're going to be. And so they're able to lose the professor and his minion as they drive through and run amok on town.
Yeah, a chaotic, fun chase scene. We also have Jeremy wanting, he feels like he just doesn't have enough protein. That's why he doesn't feel like he has energy. So he decides he's going to make a protein shake. And when he opens the door to get the orange juice out, he sees there's a steak there that just has a bunch of blood in the tray, and decides to put that in, and then puts the whole steak in. But then sees what he's done and is repulsed by it and walks away. And then dad comes in and drinks it.
Yeah.
So the man who had been watching him for a while, Mr. Modoc, is Rene Aubergenois, is going to show up in his bedroom in the middle of the night and just tell him, hey, here's the deal. Legacy of Secret Society, you're a vampire, the whole bit.
Well, he keeps stalking him. He stalks him at work. He stalks him other places
Yeah.
where he runs into Darla before that, even though, like, where they are at the grocery store, and he's like, hey. And she's like, there's a man following you. Shut up. Like, are you kidding me? What are you talking about? Because she can't see him, because every time he's in the mirror, he goes away, because that's what we do get, that the mirror, they're not seen in mirrors. And so we start seeing some of the little things that are going to maybe be a clue for our dear friend, and a few. So yes, he shows up later that night in his room.
And so he tells him, get out. And so the next day, he does say that he can go out in the day, because undead vampires must remain in the dark. Living vampires can go out in the daytime. It's very helpful. The next morning, his parents see him get into his car, which he gives him. Do you know how much I love this, Terry? The book, the Vampirism Book, where I'm like, it's everything you want in the fucking book. And I was like, yes, this is what I want. If I was
Julia
a vampire,
wants
he's
the
like,
lore.
here's the rule. go, yay! I know everything.
Oh my god,
I
you're so funny. The Vampirism Bible, but of course there's people who don't read, so he doesn't get as far as he should because he also doesn't believe him. He's like, "Dude, are you kidding me? Like, this is BS. I'm not a vampire." And he yells it as he gets out of the car after he's been given the keys to the kingdom, essentially, by a bus stop. And all these people look at him like, if you want to get on the bus first, buddy, like you seem like you're a little da 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 da." Um, and so, but he, tells him like you can have, pig's blood is probably what's best. He kind of gives him some help. Like you can go to
Mhm,
this butcher. This is a guy that's open 24 hours if you need it. Tells him where you can go. And he, ends up, just avoiding it. But he is still hot for Darla, and he sees her practicing some safe sax. She's
mhm,
playing the saxophone at
mhm, mhm,
school, and he's enjoying it. And he goes and hits on her, and he seems more confident now that he's a vampire, even though he doesn't realize he's a vampire yet. He's
mhm.
got a different kind of way about him that Julia's like, yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
Into it, into it.
Hmm.
So she said he asked her out. She says, okay. He's getting ready later that day and he goes to look in the mirror and his reflection is gone. And he says, huh, mirror's not working, and just walks away.
And he goes to another mirror, and he's
Yep.
the same problem, and he's like, yeah, doesn't work. But he had convinced her to go out with him because he had said, I had a dream. I dreamed about you. And she's like, he dreamed about me. Oh, really? He's like, not like that. Like, I really, I want to know you. So he shows up, at 7 o'clock at Darla's family's home, and this is where we get Kathy Bates for a moment as Darla's mom.
Hmm.
So cute. And Darla's mom and dad want a photo of them before they go out. They got get their little Polaroid out to try to take a picture of them, and it's very cute. And Darla's totally embarrassed by her parents wanting a photo of them before they go on this date. And they're like, "Oh, you're so handsome. Although they look good together." And oh my goodness, oh wow, just such cuties. And it's a very adorable scene. But the photo doesn't come out because only Darla's in the picture.
Hmm.
Strange.
I always do love that becoming a vampire just makes people have better clothes, just have like cooler outfits. You're like, everything just gets cooler. It's awesome. So they're going to go out, they're going to get a garbage can pizza, which
She does
sounds
the asshole boyfriend
delicious.
grab, sorry, to grab him out of the house. Did you notice
Yeah.
that?
Hmm.
Okay, just
Hmm.
making sure, just making sure. It's a thing that we have when we watch movies. There's always an asshole boyfriend grab. Somebody grabs you by the arm kind of in a wonky knocky way, and she pulls him out of the house like, my parents are so embarrassing." He's like, "No, I have parents too, like, you're cool." But yes, they go to a pizza joint, and what happens, Julia?
They get a garbage can pizza, but he can't eat it because there is garlic on it. Let's
And
cut
she's
to
like, "Oh, yeah,
Ralph.
you haven't been feeling well lately. I know.
Hmm.
Oh, is it making you feel like maybe you're allergic to something?" Yeah.
I love that we just have a scene of Ralph rocking out to Oingo Boingo in his room. That's it. He's just like, what's Ralph doing? Rocking out to Oingo Boingo in his room. Yeah,
He's
that's
rocking
been me a
out and
couple
hanging
times.
out. But he's also being watched by
Yes.
the professor and his minion, from their creepy van, and he's wondering what's going on. In the meantime, Jeremy and Darla go to the makeout point, and he tells her she's special, and they're, start making out, but they're kissing, and something is happening to poor Jeremy as they make out. His little fangs might be popping out, and he's smelling her, and she smells like a snack
Yep. And so he freaks out and puts his hand
because he
over her
almost
mouth
bites
and
her.
just pushes her out of the car and drives away. And you're like, oh, that was not well handled. Well done, sir.
But thank goodness her friend Gloria is, like, in the next car over at the makeout point, and so she's pissed, but she is able to at least, take care of her friend, who's
Yep.
been left out there in the middle of kind of nowhere. Um, in the meantime, Ralph is gonna sneak out of his house, while he realizes he's being watched and comes and scares poor little Grimsdyke, the little minion, so badly. He thinks he's seen, the worst of the worst monsters coming to get him, and they go on their merry way. And they drive the van off and away. So he's able to evade them.
Ralph goes
But
to the butcher to get some pig's blood,
yeah,
which
Jeremy's thirsty. Yeah,
yeah, so he tries it at home. He's like, oh, it's not so bad. I like that. There's
not
a
just any
there's
any butcher. He goes, it's like Whole Foods Market, like a
yeah,
vintage like Whole Foods Market. I was
yeah.
like, oh my god, that's so crazy. It
I
looks
didn't know Whole
exactly
Foods
the
was that
same.
old.
It's been around. Well, it was an old market before it became what it is. What it is,
Right.
what you know of it today. It's like Sprouts and stuff like that too. Was also like an old used to look like that. It was just a health food store. Yeah.
So he says it's not that bad, and so now he's like gonna get into it, right? He's gonna sleep under his bed. He's gonna start getting. They have blood juice. They have blood beer. They have blood wine. Like he doesn't have to
Yeah.
just drink blood. He's got choices.
And because he can't see himself in the mirror, he just tapes a picture of himself on the mirror, an old like like a headshot picture he has from like back before his before life that he puts on the mirror. So he goes, "Hey, I look good." I like because
It,
he can't tell how he looks anymore.
that is one of the things about a vampire I think would be being a drag. Like, how am I supposed to do my makeup if I don't have a mirror? I can't. That would
But
be a
you're just
hard thing.
already hot, so it doesn't matter.
This is
Um,
true.
and so this is where they have their canned beer looking blood, and they say this blood's for you, ha ha ha, and they
While the
um,
future is so bright, you got to wear shade plays. I mean, it's an 80s moment.
yeah, we get our montage for sure. And
Yeah.
then Modoc lets him know about the aging process, how like, for every year, you're gonna age like, it's gonna take 10 years for you to age 1 year, basically. He's like, so I'm 265 years old. He's like, oh wow, you're not like 40 years old or whatever. Like he's like, I had no idea. Um, and so he's been reading the book and he's studying, and so he tries to go talk to Darla again, to apologize. He's been trying to get back to her. She's
Hey,
not
tip
listening, but
though, please don't
mhm.
try to talk to somebody in the middle of a marching band practice. That's not going to work.
He's not using the best times to go bother her, and she's feeling embarrassed because she's already was embarrassed by the whole thing. And then he tries to like hypnotize her like a vampire would, and it doesn't work because he's not good at
She
it.
fucks with him and he thinks that she thinks it's working, and then she's like, "Nah, go away."
Yeah,
But he doesn't want our relationship to end before it begins. So we got to find out. Mom and Dad want Ralph to find out what's wrong with Jeremy. There's clearly something wrong with
yeah.
him, but they won't talk to them. So he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go up," and he's gonna talk to him. And so Jeremy's like, "Oh, I'm a vampire," and he's like, "Oh, that's cool." He's like, "That's it?" And he's like, "Yeah,
No, he's like, I don't, but he doesn't believe him right away. He's
no."
like, yeah, sure, sure, guy. Sure, guy. He's
Mm-hmm.
he's like he's touched, and so he doesn't buy it, and he leaves. And mom wants to know what he said, and he's like, "No, some things are too personal. I can't tell you, Mrs. Capello. I'm so
I mean, he
sorry."
does. He does show him that he doesn't have a reflection, so we do have that.
Yeah,
So he is kind of already a bit convinced, but yes,
but
he doesn't want to
yeah,
tell mom and dad what's going on.
yeah.
So
He's like, "I don't think
they,
you can handle it." I love this. They jump right away. They're like, "Okay, well, if it's too personal," and we heard a man's voice in his room the other night. He's going out late. He's dressing differently, a little more
mm-hmm,
cleaned up, a little more buttoned up. They
a little more
decide that
fabulous.
he's more fabulous. They think he's gay.
Yeah.
And so they start figuring out how to read, they read like, help self-help for that.
So Modoc then comes to say goodbye. That he said, like, "I've came here to set you on your way, but now you have to do this on your own, and the people who love you will protect you." But he says, "Remember that vampires are just like any minority who have been persecuted." And then gives him his BMW, his Nightman license plate BMW. I'm like, all
Yeah. So
right.
mom really sees that and says Nightman, and they're like, that looks like also kind of gay. And so it's just feeding to the lore, which is so silly. And so he's like, but what do I do like with these vampires that are trying to kill us? Or not vampires, the vampire hunters that are trying to kill us. Like, well, he's like, you figure out how to handle that as well, and you'll do what you can, right? And
Yep.
so he's like, okay.
So
Like
you
he's
know
like,
what time
you
it
got
is now.
he's like, be a vampire. You can use
Yeah.
those skills. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got the book to teach him how to do everything he needs to know.
Mhm.
We see him floating outside of Ralph's window. So he finally convinces him, and Ralph's now turned around and was like, "Oh, great. You have hypnotizing powers. Awesome. Let's get a date for me. Come on out." Like,
Like, "Let's go
tells
to the club."
a full switch. He's like, "Great. I'm
Yeah.
on board now."
He's like, "You can really wingman for me now, like, for real, like, hook a brother up," because, like, the thing is too, like, Jeremy, even though he's had that hot girl who was after him, who he didn't really care about, like, there's all just different dynamics here, and that's also why the parents were like, "He didn't want that hot girl? Like, what's going on?" Like, that's
Yeah.
why they also, like, feeds to the lore that he might be gay. And so, they go to the club, but they're being followed by the professor and Grimsdyke. And so they're out at the club trying to like hypnotize the girls and do all this stuff. And it's going mostly badly. And like the hypnotism is like going to the wrong person. Even Grimsdyke gets a stray bullet here, so to speak, of love potion. And he wants to be Ralphie's love slave all of a sudden,
Yep.
which is
So
pretty
that's the rest of the
delightful.
movie. That's Grimm's like he's now just wants to be Ralph's love slave. I'm like, great, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So they go to it's the Bad Blood Club that they're out. And so when mom and dad also say when they're talking about the books they're reading, like, what do you think? Like, I really wanted grandchildren. No, like that's the only, like, other than that, we're okay.
Yeah, I've absolutely heard that before too. And
Hmm.
so it happens. I feel like that's a common like, oh, the things you mourn when you think
Right.
that's happening, but you could still have them. Yay. I know lots of gay parents. And so Jeremy sees Darla and Gloria out at an all-night diner they end up going to after they're at the club, and it's like fate has brought them all together. And so Jeremy's like, you know what? I failed miserably at the club, whatever, but I didn't really want any of those girls there anyway. And Ralph's like, go talk to her or whatever. And he's like, no, it's like, actually tells her don't. He's like, no, I'm going to go do this. So he goes up to Darla and it's like, hey, like, I, still like you. And Gloria's, talking shit and trying to like him and like knock him down. But Darla and him really have a connection. And so he's like, I'm gonna, I won't run off to anything crazy anytime soon. But of course, in the meantime, Grimsdyke and the professor Hop also find them at the diner, and they go and get Ralph, and they kidnap him from the diner at gunpoint and drag him outside while Jeremy's talking to the girls. And so he doesn't notice this until it's almost too late. They end up grabbing Darla and running outside, and they are all of a sudden on a high speed chase following that van.
Yeah, and mom and dad are listening to the police band when they hear about that car chase, and they realize who's in that car chase, and they go help out Jeremy, and he introduces Darla to them on over the band. So in the middle of
But
this
they
car,
run before in the middle of it though, so they don't get to hear the whole intro, so they don't
yeah,
get to meet that he has a girlfriend, so they miss that part, so they still think he's gay, but they're on their way to go help their gay son.
yes. And so in the middle of this police chase, the car flips over that they are in, but it keeps going on two wheels, and then like Matt, the nice new BMW car he just got is just going to be a smashed
The
hull.
ultimate 80's car chase moment, right? And
Hmm.
so, the cops end up stopping them in the speed trap, and this whole thing happens, and the other guys get away. But when Jeremy tries to explain that they're going after these people that wanna kill vampires, the police think he's lying, and they throw him in the back of the cop car. But Darla, being a good friend and, like, as Modoc says, "When people love you, they will help you." She drives that cop car off, and they are on their way back. The chase is back on, and they find them all the way to this church graveyard, where the professor has tied up our dear Ralphie, getting ready to kill him because they think he is the vampire.
They have to release the creature's soul on sanctified grounds. So he's going to let Grimsdyke do it. This is the first kill for Grimsdyke, and Grimsdyke can't do it. So when Jeremy and Darla come in, they explain about the press is like, we're the good guys. No, it's this vampire. They're the bad guys. But then they realize they're like, oh, well, you haven't done any of, how do you know he's a vampire? Have you put holy water on him? Have you put garlic on him? Have you done any of these things? And he's like, no. When they do, and he puts garlic around his neck and he's fine. And so then they let him up. And when he goes to hug Jeremy flinches back from the garlic.
Winces.
And now they
Yeah.
know that he is the vampire.
Yeah. And so now they're chasing him through the graveyard. But Now we're gonna get a bunch of our people showing back up. We got a graveyard party. We got Modoc is gonna reappear. Nora, Hot Lady, is also gonna reappear. And we find out that there's been this, kind of battle for the ends of the earth, so to speak. And the professor is finally at his wit's end here, and they are going to use one of their greatest tools, a bunch of hot vampire ladies, to come and
Mm-hmm.
converge upon him and make him part of the fold. They're like, if you can't vanquish your enemy, make him your ally, is what Modoc says. And so they turn the professor, and it scares Grimsdyke away.
Yeah. Nora and the professor go off together and run away as wolves/dogs. And we see Jeremy. I got to read that book. There we go. And then mom and dad show up, and everybody's a happy family. This is a girl. He's not gay. He's just a vampire, but he's a girlfriend. And they're like, oh, that's great. No problems. We're good.
Yeah, but they don't realize he's a vampire. They think they're like, oh, we know what you are. We just think that he's gay. And then when he says he's not, they're like, oh, well, then we're still happy you have a girlfriend. They don't actually know, like, really know that what he is. They understand all of it. But Ralphie's like, wait, what? You guys are cool with this? Because he thinks that they're cool with like everything that's just happened. And then we get our beautiful song, "Future's So Bright." Gotta wear shades. Do do do. We got that at the ending, and happy family, happy life. Yes.
Yeah. Happy ending
Adorable.
for pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
It's silly. It's wacky. It's got Robert Sean Leonard as a vampire. So, I'm a happy girl. I think it's how do you survive this movie? Because I feel like this is I think it's a very unusual story because, always the story is, how do I not be a vampire anymore? How do we stop this? But
Right.
this is like, you are this, and now you have to accept this, and now you have
Mm-hmm.
to think about your life in a different way. But it makes it like it's improving his life, which I feel like is an
Mm-hmm.
unusual stance for most vampire films.
Absolutely. And not really anybody, and no one really dies. Like, this is just
No.
like people just turn, like there isn't a bunch of murders or anything like that. Even though these guys try to murder them, they're like, no, we just are, we drink pig's blood, we don't murder. Like, we're just like these, like, they're like ethical vampires, so to speak, right?
Hmm.
So this is a different vibe than this is more Twilighty in that respect. You know what I mean? Where they're like, we are ethical vampires. We're not trying to like go off and do anything awful. Um, they're kind of sweet.
Hmm.
Kind of a nice vamp family. I
Yeah.
get if you wanting to be a vampire, if this is the vampire you're talking about,
Yeah.
versus
And I
like
get a
the
whole
like,
rule book where I know how to do
yeah,
everything. Fuck yeah.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
yeah.
into that.
So yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it's super
Gore.
cute. Yeah.
1 is not enough blood to fill a Dixie cup. 2 is a puddle of blood. 3 is enough blood to gross out the average viewer. 4 is a bathtub of blood. And 5 is run for the barf bag. This is a 3. Like, you get people drinking blood and stuff, but it's not a terribly bloody film.
No, and we got the little, our classic vampire bites and stuff like that too, and that's about it. But it's not crazy bloody, just a lot of like the pig's blood montage of like just different versions of blood to drink, is what you're getting. Sweet. And then Chainsaws, 1 if you're desperate, 2 barely qualifies as a horror film, 3 seen worse, seen better, 4 not too shabby, 5 fantasticorical. I give this a 5. This is really fun to watch, Julia. Super cute. And I rented this one again. A little shout out to my friends at Videotech. I love how they write the little titles
Oh.
on there. So I rented this one, so I got to watch it on my little Blu-ray here, from our friends there, and delightful. I really enjoyed it, Julia. Thank
Oh,
you.
I'm so glad. This is a 5 for me as well. Just, is it a perfect movie? No. Is it
No.
enjoyable and silly and doing different kind of things with it? Yeah, you have David Warner coming in as your like Van Helsing. I'm like, you got it right there. That's pretty fucking awesome. You don't get to see him be silly very often, David Warner. So I think this is a nice
No,
chance to
you
see
do
him be.
not. That's not his usual go-to by any means. And also even Robert Sean Leonard, I know he doesn't always get to be like this goofy either too, but it was pretty cute. And he's very endearing, and I
And
really,
he's
I was very,
he's really
it was a very optimistic movie in a time where things feel hard and weird. And this was a really nice little reprieve in the world. It was really delightful.
yeah, agreed. It's light, and I feel like Robert Sean Leonard is better than this movie, and I don't want to just downplay this movie, but like, you can see him. He could have done this, but he's so much better than this, right? And we see that in his career. Have you seen this, listener? Do you have thoughts? Would you like to tell us vampire movies we've gone down vampire rabbit holes, and I'm like, they're never ending though. That's the most beautiful thing. I'm like, I have seen hundreds of vampire movies in my lifetime, still going. They're still out there, still more.
There's still so many more, and there's still so many adaptations, and there's gonna be more. There's always more coming out at all times, Julia. It's a delightful thing. So, thank you again, guys, for listening, watching, like, follow, subscribe, all those things. Hit us up on all the socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky. I feel like I'm missing something, but we're on all of them. So hit us up on any one of those. Let us know your thoughts. If you got vampire movie suggestions, please hit those up
Mhm.
to us. Julia is also on 2 other amazing podcasts. She's on The Losers Club, which is all about Stephen King. They're doing the ranking as all of his novels this year, which has just been incredible to listen to. She also has a wonderful show called JodoWOWsky, all about the life and legend and incredible work of the wonderful Alejandro Jodorowsky, who I also love to shout out that he has an amazing Instagram. Every Sunday, he puts
Mhm.
out 10 like little like life lessons, little things. And I just find they're always fascinating, always thought provoking. And if you're an artist, you should absolutely be following him. And Julie also has 2 movies. One amazing movie that is doing its 10-year anniversary out of print. It's doing its 10-year anniversary tour this year, so look out for it in cinema or stream it. Or if it needs to go to your area, hit Julia up so she could go and screen it at your cinema.
Mhm.
If you've got a revival house nearby, it'd be a great thing to do. And then your other film, I Know What You Need, a Stephen King adaptation, because she's that much into Stephen King, y'all. She adapted one of his works. Incredible film. You can find that on Arrow Player, or email or hit Julia up and she'll send you a link. Yeah.
Thank you for
Did we
all
do
the
it?
hype. I appreciate it.
I got
You did
you. I
it.
love you.
Thank you. I love you too, best
Yeah.
friend. This is my best friend. If you were a vampire, you know what I'd say? That's cool.
Yeah.
See, this is the kind of
You
friends we
say
are.
that's cool, and then you'd be like, "Why didn't you turn me? What's going on?"
That
And
would
then
be
you'd
the
wanna
next
be a vampire
question.
next.
Yes. Mhm.
Let's be honest. I know you'd be like, "Okay, and for Julia, what for Julia?"
What about me?
All
Would you
right,
want
have
to
a
be a
wonderful week.
vampire? We have to know. These are things we.
I'm
Let us
good.
know.
I will be happy to help you, and I will Renfield so hard for you. But I'm good. I'm good on not living forever. I'd be okay doing this lifetime, and I
I'll
love
see you
you.
in the next lifetime anyway.
All right, probably. I think I found you like 10 times already. So let's go. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Horror Movie Survival Guide is independently produced by Terry Gamble, Julia Marchesi, and Sierra Ryan. Hey, that's me. If you would like to support the show, find us on patreon.com/horror movie survival guide.